Hi everyone, and welcome to Sketch from Scratch. Today we're going to be making a neo-soul type song on Pro Tools Sketch for my iPad. If you're not familiar with Sketch or don't know what it is, Pro Tools Sketch is a free application that you can get on the iOS App Store. It's a non-linear music creation app, and it's really great for coming up with ideas and creative songwriting, all that good stuff. If you haven't downloaded it already, make sure that you go do that. And in the meantime, let's get started with this song. A good place to start anytime you're working on a new song is to set the BPM. And indeed, that's what I'm going to do in my Sketch. I come up here to my Sketch settings. I've already named this Neo, keeping it simple. I know that I want my BPM to be 90. Of course, you can tap in your BPM if you're not sure what you want it to be. I'm going to turn my swing up. Let's call it 30%. And that should be good. So I'm going to close out of my Sketch settings and we're ready to start recording some instruments. Now, if you're not familiar with what neo-soul is, you don't know the genre, think artists like D'Angelo, Jill Scott, Erykah Badu, Maxwell. It's a genre that really fuses together a lot of jazz and soul and hip-hop influence, and personally, it's one of my favorite genres to play, which is why we're going to make something in that realm today on iPad. Now, in neo-soul, kick is essential. Kick and snare really anchor your song, so we're going to start with that. Normally, I would play kick and snare together, doing kind of a finger drumming thing on iPad, but for now, I'm going to do them separately because I want to really manipulate and edit each sound individually. So let's start with that kick drum. I'm going to record enable instrument 1. I'm going to come over here to track, and in play cell, I'm going to choose this basement kit. This has a kick drum that I like, so we're going to start with that. Turn the filter up a little bit. I want it to be kind of muffled. And then we're going to come in here to advanced settings and tune it down, I don't know, just maybe one step. Close out of there. That's working. Let's do that. So in order to record, all I have to do is press play on scene 1, turn on the metronome, and then I can press record whenever I'm ready and start playing. Press stop when I'm done, and there is my kick track. Now before we move on to snare, let's edit this a little bit. I'm going to tap on this clip and tap open in editor. I'm going to zoom way in here, and you can see that there's a really short note that I want to be more of a ghost note, and right now the velocity is just too high. So if I tap on velocity, I can tap and drag to turn the velocity way down on this. I'm talking like all the way down to 20. Now let's back it up and see if that sounds any better. Also going to turn my metronome off so I can hear the kick more clearly. Perfect, and we are ready to move on to our snare. So in instrument 2, once again, I'm going to record enable this track. I'm going to come into the track tab and I'm going to go back over to basement kit. There is a side stick that I really like in here, so I'm going to use that. And I'm going to go into my advanced controls and tune it up just a hair, like 2 steps. Close out of there. That sounded pretty good to me. So let's go ahead and track this. Press play on scene 1. Perfect. Now I've recorded my snare part, but the loop went a little longer than I wanted it to. I didn't tap on the record button fast enough. So easy fix. Let's go over to this clip and press open in editor. And let's just drag the endpoint back. And now this should line up perfectly with my kick. Okay, perfect. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to put some hi-hats in there, but rather than using a virtual instrument and MIDI, I'm going to use an audio loop because I prefer the sound of a human really expressing themselves on the hi-hats. So let's go to browse over here, and I heard a hi-hat loop that I liked earlier. There it is. This particular hi-hat loop that I'm using is from the Matt Avename Burnin' Breaks Sonic Drop sound pack. If you guys want the sounds that you're hearing in this video and a lot more delivered free to your inbox every month, make sure that you check out the description below and click the link to sign up for Pro Tools Artist, which is only $10 a month. You get everything that I'm using here and a whole lot more. And remember, this audio loop is just a starting point. Once you bring it into Sketch, you can flip it, tweak it, sample it, whatever you want to do, and then bring it straight into Pro Tools on your desktop and manipulate it even further, really flesh it out and use it in your compositions. And that works with any version of Pro Tools, including Pro Tools Intro, which is available for free. So anyways, here's the hi-hats that I want to use. I'm just going to drag them into this new audio track. And I know they're going to come in pretty hot in my mix, so I'm going to go over to my mixer and turn this down. All right, that's going to do it for drums right now. I'm going to come back and add some things a little later, but I want to play some instruments. I have my iPad hooked up to my audio interface, so if I grab a guitar or a bass and I just plug it straight into my audio interface, I should be able to monitor back and record right from my iPad. So let me grab my guitar, let's plug in and see if we can do that. All right, I've got my acoustic guitar, I'm plugged into my audio interface. I'm going to go to this audio track in Sketch, I'm going to record enable, and then I'm going to turn on input monitoring, and theoretically, because my guitar is plugged in, we should be able to hear it. And we can, which is great. Of course, you got to add some reverb to that acoustic guitar. Just a little bit, let's hear how that sounds. Pretty cool. Now, the beauty of Sketch is that I don't need to know exactly what I'm going to play when I go to record. I can loop this, I can play along with it, see how I feel about the parts, and then when I find what I like, when I know what I want to play, I can press record on that clip and record my part. So let's do that. I'm going to press play on this scene. I'm just going to mess around for a little bit. Cool, there's my acoustic guitar part. One thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add an EQ here and filter out some of this low end so I don't get in the way of the bass. Speaking of bass, let me go grab my bass guitar, plug that in, and we'll track some. Okay, I've got my bass plugged in. Let's add a new audio track, record enable it, and turn on input monitoring. And can we hear my bass? Yes, we can. Let's add a little compression to our bass. Perfect. Now, same thing again. I'm going to play this scene. I don't know exactly what I want to play, so I'm going to mess around a little bit. And when I'm ready to record, I just tap that record button and go. Alright, now I'm not the world's greatest bass player, but I think that will work for now. Once again, my loop went a little longer than I want it to, so open in editor and let's drag this back. Let's hear how this sounds all together, and I might make some adjustments to the mix a little bit too. All right, let's add one more kind of percussive part, and then we'll start arranging this. So I'm going to go back over here to my loops, and I think I heard a tambourine. Yes, got to have a tambourine. It's the best part of any song, really. Let's drag and drop this over here into a new audio track, and it's going to come in pretty hot. Let's turn down on the mixer. Let's press play. I'm going to turn my snare up a little bit too. It's coming in a little quiet. Okay, I turned the tambourine down a little bit. I turned my snare up a little bit. I think we got a pretty good bass line here. I like this as kind of a main groove. So let's start arranging it a little bit. Make it sound a little more like a song. Let's go ahead and tap on scene 1 and press duplicate. Now, for an intro, I kind of want to have no drums in there. So I'm going to remove this. And let's remove tambourine as well. Let's hear what this sounds like by itself. That's kind of cool. I forgot to remove the hi-hats, but I actually kind of like them in there. So let's keep them. Our next scene is going to be kind of the main part for our song. Here's what that sounds like. And I really like how the drums and the bass are grooving together, so I'm going to make a breakdown section. I'm going to duplicate this one more time, but I'm going to remove my guitar. And I'm going to keep everything else, and that's going to be kind of a breakdown section. Let's hear what that sounds like. Let's name these scenes so that we can start arranging them in our arrangement view. Go into properties. I'm going to call this verse. I'm going to call this one chorus. And I'm going to call this one breakdown. Now the last thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to take these parts, I'm going to drag them up into my arrangement view, verse, chorus, verse, chorus, breakdown, something like that. I want my verses to go twice, so I can just tap here and turn up the number of repeats to 2 times. And now what I can do is I can take this arrangement straight out of Sketch on my iPad, I can pop it into Pro Tools and then continue to work on this and really keep fleshing it out until I have a full, complete, mixed and mastered song. And there you have it, folks. That's how I would go about making a neo soul type track on Pro Tools Sketch, available for free on iPad or as part of any Pro Tools desktop subscription, starting at just $10 a month. Click the link below this video to get Sketch for free or to try Pro Tools free for 30 days. Hope you enjoyed this video, and we will see you guys on the next one.